Well, welcome to Marky Mark's Woodshop. I know, it's not really the woodshop. Had you fooled. We're actually inside the camper because we have to make some shelves for the two wardrobes on either side of the bed here. And unfortunately, I think we're going to need shelves rather than a hanging wardrobe. So I'm going to put a shelf here on either side and hopefully make better use of the space. If we need to hang stuff, we've got a very big one in the bathroom. So let's head to the shop. Alrighty, back in the wood shop. We got picked up 3 of these pieces of cedar. They're pretty long. I had to have the guy cut them in half so they didn't hang out of the back of the truck like 12 feet or something crazy. So we've got 6 of these, more than enough. Our shelves are going to be 13 by 18 inches. The boards are only 5.5 wide, so we'll have to do some glue ups first. And even before then, one side's finished, sanded. The other side is pretty rough. And I think I'm just going to run it through the planer one time to give it a smooth edge. I mean, it's going to face down, you're never going to see it, but there's a lot of stuff hanging down and could cause splinters. So 1 or 2 passes and we can cure that problem. So the planer's set up. And we're ready to put the board through, so let's make some noise. Alrighty, much better surface. Sanding wouldn't hurt it, but again, it's going to be face down, so no big deal. And the other side's already sanded for us. So, we might need 2 boards. I'm going to have to do some measuring and see. Maybe we'll have to run a second one through. Maybe not. Let's see, I need 6 foot of board. And I've got 8 feet, so we're good. So let's cut some 18-inch sections, and actually I'm wrong. I need 13-inch width. 3 of these together I'm going to need. So we will have to do a second board. Let me run another one through real quick, and we'll start chopping them up and gluing them up. Alright, I'm set up. We're going to use the sliding table attachment. And I've actually got these at 18.25 inches because I'm going to come back and cut off the rough end from the factory on the other side, so I'll get a smooth cut. Not that that matters, you're not going to see it or anything. But you also notice I clamped the boards against the fence because they're kind of long, and I've got a lot of them hanging way out there. So the clamps will hold it much better than I can. So let's cut these, and then we'll set the fence for repetitive cuts at 18 inches. Okay, and to set the fence, there is a stop at the end. All we have to do is flip it down after we set it to 18 inches. So, I'll do that and be right back. Alright, the stop's set at 18 inches so we can do repetitive cuts. And we need 6 of these total to make our 2 shelves. Okay, so we have our 6 pieces cut. The next step is to glue them up, and then we'll have to let them cook overnight. So, how we're going to do biscuits? Well, let's pick the sides we want upright. Smooth sides, this one's easy. And we'll have 2 of these to do, actually 2 shelves. So, what we're going to do is, let's get our ends meeting. And we're just going to mark where we're going to do the biscuits on both of these boards. And I'm just going to do them even by eye. They don't have to be dead even. But you do need to stay away from the edges because the saw blade is 4 inches, so bearing that in mind, you want to be over 2 inches away from the edge, otherwise you'll have your biscuit exposed. So that's one set. Let's mark the second set. And I think I'm going to put the sap grain on the edge. That'll wind up getting cut off because these are going to be 15, 16 and a half inches wide. I only need 13, so we're going to have to come back and cut off a little bit. Okay, so we're marked. And the next step is to put our plate joiner to work. And I'm going to want it cutting about halfway into the board. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we'll have to adjust the fence. It's only about 1/4 of the way down. So let's do that. It's roughly halfway, good enough. And commence cutting. Alrighty, so all the holes are cut. It cuts a oval shaped slot, and we'll go get our biscuits in a second and start gluing them up and clamping them. One of the things, if you ever decide to get a plate joiner, this is an excellent way to join boards and align them too. One of the things you need to look for, it's very important that you have a good fence. It's imperative that you're perpendicular, and I even hold it flat against there. And of course you can angle them if you want to go into 45s or something. The fence will tilt, but again, shopping for one of these, make sure the fence is stout and very firm. If it's plastic, you don't want it. I don't think there is a cheap unit under $200 with a plastic fence that is worth the money. I can't even think of anybody that makes them. I'm not going to mention any names. But, important tip for you. Alrighty, let's go find some biscuits. Alrighty, got everything we're going to need. Glue. I've got a special glue bottle just for biscuits that'll get down in the slots. Our biscuits, and we have some clamps at the ready. So let's have at it. Oh, let me grab my mallet. And get the old glue off of here to make it easier to open up here. The glue doesn't really stick to this some plastics. That's why they use this. However, this one could be old. I've got some new bottles, but this one will probably last me a lifetime. I'd lost it and got another new one, and it was a two-for deal. So I've got 2 extra brand new bottles still in the packaging, which of course will ensure that this never gets lost again. Alrighty. So what we're going to do is apply a generous amount of glue inside of the slots. And insert a biscuit in each slot. These are our biscuits. They're little wafers of not solid wood, and they'll swell. They'll absorb some of the glue and swell and make the joint tighter. So sometimes they're a little tight to begin with, and I'll just tap them in gently, very gently, because you can easily damage them. So we'll do the same thing in the slots in the mating surface. And apply some glue elsewhere along the surface that doesn't have the biscuits. And I run a bead up either side of the biscuit, and it can be not so thick because I'll do it on the other board too, particularly in the center since I got the sides on the other one. And again, just a very thin bit, because it's going to wind up being plenty of glue. You'll see it, the squeeze out. In fact, I'm going to put wax paper down so it doesn't stick to the bench. So now that we've got those done, we'll just tap them together, and making sure our ends are good, which they are, and we'll just keep going until we get them all glued up, and I'll finish that and we'll clamp them next. Okie dokie. So we're ready to clamp them up. Generally I like to use pipe clamps for glue ups, but these are kind of small, and I'll need sacrificial boards for those too, but I've got some newer clamps that have pads on them that are very strong, so we'll go with that. And we might come back and put a pipe clamp on them. We'll see how it goes, how well they glue up. So what I'm going to try and do is catch in between the biscuit on either side of the there we go. And as I compress the clamp, you can see the glue squeezing out, which is what we want. Not too much glue, just enough. Just a little bit. So these clamps are working out pretty good. I won't need anything more than just 2 by the looks of it. These are pretty stout. These are Bessie clamps. Bessie and Jorgensen are your 2 best clamp manufacturers. Very good. Nice. So we'll have to let these sit overnight for the glue to set up. And really run them through the drum sander after that and do the final little cuts. I'll have to take off about 1.5 inches on either side. And that's good because I can use those as the anchors to set the boards on in the closet that we're going to attach these. So they're flat, that's good. We don't have to set anything on them because a lot of times glue ups will buckle, but we've only got 3 boards, so that's minimized. That one's okay. Let me look at the other one. That one may have just a skosh bit, but again, we're going to run it through the drum sander, and that'll take care of a little bit. So until tomorrow, that's all we can do until the glue dries. So don't forget,